Alex Merklinger's Mysteries of the Mind. And now your host, Alex Merklinger.
Welcome to our show, my friends. It's been a while, and I am remiss, and so is our guest, Clif, remiss for not being on more often. Clif, welcome back to Mysteries of the Mind. My gosh, it's been, 6 months or so, or longer?
Yeah, easily that, I would think, yeah.
Well,
long time.
I miss having you on. I miss your information, although I do follow your information, and this, I still don't understand. I mean, I like to impress everybody with how smart I am, but I got to tell you, you are so far beyond where I am, it's silly. The stuff that you do, Clif, let's go into that a little bit, okay?
Sure.
Even though it's, you've probably done it 8 million times, but even since the last time you were on, we have probably gotten 25 or more different countries listening with very large groups. We are now, that we know of, in 65 different countries, besides every city in the United States and North America.
Very impressive.
Well, it's not. It's only because of people like you, that attract our listeners, and we do have the greatest listeners around. But you do something that, and I've told George Ure this so many times because he gets on and he thinks you walk on water.
I know. I keep trying to disabuse him of that opinion. I'm a mean, rotten, nasty, and we won't go any further than that.
I keep trying to tell him, no, George, he doesn't. He knows where the rocks are. But you do something that is so unbelievable, and I know this is your program, and I understand that, but I still don't understand it. You have an ability. You have put together a program where you can go out and and I'm not even sure what you do, tap into, check through emails and what have you on.
No, we do not get emails. Let's be very clear about that. We only go after publicly available information. If there's a robot.txt on the server that says no sweep, we don't sweep.
Okay.
We're very straightforward in that. It's somewhat limiting because we could capture emails and things, but that's an invasion of people's privacy.
Oh, and we would never do that, just like the government would never do that, huh?
They certainly would, yes, but I won't.
Okay. Now, Clif, when you do one of your Webbot runs,
yes.
How many, is it sweeps that you do?
Reads, we call them.
Read. Okay.
We might get, it's a bandwidth issue to be very straightforward about it, really a cost issue as to how many we do.
Yeah.
And we have, in fact, done so many that we found that it was almost unmanageable in translation. So beyond a certain number, which we're settling around 60 million or more or less of these reads, each covering about 2K or so. We can adjust it slightly. So that's about 2,048 bytes of information. And we can up that up to 20K, but it really impacts our bandwidth. And because we're paying to keep a very fat pipe into the internet open, so to speak, so that we can grab a lot of information as quickly as possible and then sit back here and gnaw on it for a while.
60 million.
Correct.
Now, when you do your thing, you are looking for what? Specific words, intonation, and I don't know how you get intonation on a
No, words is correct. Everything that we've got is a combination, is basically after a word or a phrase, or like any sort of a SQL. Many of your listeners would be familiar with SQL language. Binary seeks, in essence, this and that, or that and this, that kind of thing. We're sometimes after combinations.
Okay.
And it will have lexical, we have a little bit of fuzzy logic there that says if you find word A and it's within 7 or 10 words of word B and the words in between are like this, then we'll accept that.
How in heaven's name did you come up with an idea to write something? This is as intricate or more so to me than the Bible codes, because it seems almost...
much more so, actually.
Yeah.
Theirs is relatively straightforward because they're using a thing called Germantia, where the language in which they're seeking, presumably they're after Hebrew, is based where each letter is also numerically significant, and we have a nasty bit of work we have to do around these new ISO multi-byte language codes. So it's really made our work a lot harder that the internet has expanded so fast, but all these different languages are folding in because we had to go from basically ASCII up to an ANSI standard, now an ISO standard, so that we've got tons of various different multi-byte language code in there to figure it all out. So it does make the Bible codes look pretty simple.
Yeah. Now, when you do this, okay, and I'm not even going to try to guess to see how long it may have taken you from conception to the actual application of it, and I'm sure the application is, as you just said, Cliff, constantly changing because the language on the internet is constantly changing.
Correct. We actually end up having to update our lexicon every single run. Each run lasts about 6 weeks.
Wow.
A run is about anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 days worth of data capture and simultaneous interpretation after about 9 days worth of accruing data, because we need a certain size to work off of. It's constantly evolving because language constantly evolves.
Sure it does. You check only in English, or do you check
No,
other
we
languages?
have. Initially, that was the case, correct.
Yeah.
A brief history is that I initially got some ideas about this around 1983. Worked briefly for Microsoft on a project and came up while I was working for them and gave them this concept called the language model, which is a new way of using SQL Server where each database only has 7 tables, no matter what you're going to hold in there, and it's unlimited. And basically the idea is that instead of storing the data, you store the tick marks on the number of words that we're using to describe the data, and then just reference those back to a lexicon, a big dictionary. And so I took that further and did some other work with lexicons, and then came up with this idea about 1997 as a commercial venture. So it was entirely in English at that point. It was only when it started yielding the aha factor, the unexpected results, because it was initially targeted to kind of give me an idea, an edge, if you will, on market trading, with the theory being that if I could discover, I discovered a basic principle that struck me like a brick falling off of a building, and that was that people didn't buy stocks based on any kind of logic. It was all emotionally driven. And this is no big insight to anybody that's ever traded stocks or into the business or stuff, but I was a software programmer and never even looked at it. But, with the internet hype and all the stock trading in the 90s, it was a big deal, and finally in the 95 or so I started looking at the whole issue of economics and how it all worked. And in 97 I got that insight, and I thought, well, geez, there's a bunch of things about humans that mostly are not discussed or used as a background. And that is that with the exception of people like yourself who have to interview many diverse personalities, the vast majority of us only use about 11,000 words in an annual lexicon. And we just vary them ever so slightly week to week to week. But basically, there's a core of about 11,000. Out of the 110,000 words that we may possibly know and feel comfortable using, we really only use about 1/10 of that. And so I thought, well, geez, that's not a very big group to look at. And if I could figure out a way to assign an emotional value to that, then I could go and sweep the internet where people might be discussing something like Sun networking stock and see how they felt about it emotionally, and therefore how they might feel about trading it. Sort of make sense?
Boy, well, the scary thing is I think I understand what you're saying. But,
okay, well, good.
Yeah.
And so what shocked me was I started getting stuff that had no relation to commercial interest stuff at all.
Yeah. Now, Cliff, do you feel that however it works, and it doesn't matter how the words are put down, but it seems to me, and I've talked with Bill Pollack, I've talked to George about it too, and many other people, it seems that in some way you are able to draw information from the people who are writing this stuff down from their subconscious minds.
I won't disagree with you.
Damn, that's
I
awesome.
believe that information leaks out all of the time. Hang on a second, I'll take a sip of water here.
Yeah, that I've got to tell you that is beyond awesome, because when you realize that you have been able to think of a vehicle that enables you to tap into the subconscious mind, or I'll take it a step further. Carl Jung called it the collective consciousness, and it seems to me, and I'll verify that or back it up in a minute, but it seems to me that you, with this program that you've developed, have learned how to tap into the collective consciousness of people around the world.
I won't disagree, but I don't want to take the credit for it. Okay, I don't want to stand here and sit here and say, well, that it's all my idea.
Okay, Sally did it.
Well, no, basically what I have to say is that there used to be this method of training debaters, in Rome. They were really big on rhetoric. That's how you advanced through society, was your ability to wield language.
Sure.
Okay.